Hello, friends. I'm so happy to see you all here. Happy Equinox. Wasn't it a beautiful day today to go out? I hope you had a chance to go out and walk on Mother Earth and send her your gratitude and your love for how she supports us and how hard she's working to sustain us. Um, it was just a gorgeous day. It was a wonderful day to end the summer on. And I understand there's a big storm coming in tonight. So fall is going to come in with a bang, and we're going to get lots of rain. I understand through this week. So, and last week we were praying for rain, right? I mean, was that the worst? I It was so much worse than just the restrictions of the COVID thing going on, because to not be able to get outside and go for walks and open our windows and get fresh air. And um, for me, I like sleeping at night with my window wide open. I couldn't get fresh air at night, and so my sleep was yucky, and so I got pretty cranky. Um, and so I hope you're all safe and well and taking really good care of yourself and generating a warm, kind heart towards yourself, because these are really challenging times. And before we actually get into the ceremony tonight, I would like to just take a moment to pause and acknowledge what's going on with the fires that are burning all along the West Coast, even though they have subsided somewhat. But I want us to take a moment of silence in just a minute to honor the first responders and the firefighters and all the people that have been working so hard to protect the land and to protect us, and to send our loving and healing prayers to all those people who have lost their homes and who have suffered, um, and the animals and the trees and all the kingdoms of nature have been affected. So sending our love and healing to everyone who's struggling with this. So I'd like to start with a prayer. So if you could close your eyes for a moment, I'm going to recite this prayer, and then we'll pause for just 1 minute of silence where we can send our prayers and our healing thoughts to everyone. So if you want to just close your eyes. And this is a prayer written by a woman named Mirabai Starr. Mother of God, similar to fire, ignite my heart in prayer. Where once I stood on familiar ground, selecting my spiritual experiences like choice morsels from a well-tended larder, now my garden has gone up in flames, and I thirst only for life. Open me to this. Deep inside my own ripened being, let me swallow the sacred and burn with presence, illuminating a way home. Lit from within, let my blazing heart become a sanctuary for the weary traveler, until this long night lifts and the coming new dawn unfolds her radiance at last. So 1 minute of silence, please. May all beings be healed. May all beings be safe. May all beings be comforted. Thank you. All right, let's shift gears a little. I think one of the most important skills that we have to learn, because our world is in so much turmoil right now, is how we deal with change and uncertainty. The Buddhists tell us that everything changes. But I think the important thing is how we react to change. I mean, I don't know anyone that isn't having difficulty right now maintaining their equilibrium during this time of crisis in our world. And the fall equinox always happens in the sign of Libra, and Libra is the sign of equilibrium and balance and right relationship. So we should have a little help this month from that constellation. But I'd like to just ask you to ponder for a moment what your relationship is to change. How do you react to it? I don't know anybody that just opens their arms wide and says, oh, come on, change. I'm so ready. I'm so excited for you. I mean, it's a spectrum, right? I think a lot of us sort of dig in our heels and resist, and we deny that any change needs to be made because we're kind of comfortable where we are. And so it takes an act of will to really welcome change in any kind of a way, I think. And trust. It takes trust that whatever change is coming, we'll know how to deal with it. And one approach that I have found that's helpful in dealing with change is to be curious about it. To say to myself, I wonder what this change will be about. And I think when we can sort of develop that observer part of our personality, where we can kind of step back and watch what's going on, that we are able then to detach from our maybe habitual emotional reactions to change of fear or anxiety. And I think, as I said, most importantly, that we can remind ourselves over and over again, probably over and over again a lot these days, that whatever comes our way, we can handle it. We're resilient. And hopefully we handle it from the highest level that we can manage. And by that I mean handling change from the level of our personality, from our ego, is usually quite different than if we try to handle change from that higher aspect of ourselves, our soul level. So let's hold an intention that when we are confronted with change, that we can respond from that higher level that is within us. And when we can accept it, I think this is another perspective we can have, that if we can accept change, when we accept it as a natural part of life and honor its potential to heal, then we can learn something from it. It doesn't have to become this big emotional, dramatic, reactive response. We can look at it and say, I wonder what there is for me to learn from this experience. You know, in the Native American tradition, change was honored and accepted, and they greeted change with a sense of it being a sacred time. Often there would be a totem or a sacred object given to the person who was about to experience change to let them know that they were supported. Changing woman was the sacred deity invoked to assist one in change. And when I was part of a drumming circle many years ago, there was a chant that we used to sing called Changing Woman. Okay, so this chant, in this chant were the words, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. And we used to have this little sacred object that we would give to the person in our group who was going through a change. And they would hold that in their hands or take it with them wherever they went so that they could remember how they were supported and held by the group and by this totem. And it got to the point where if you were going to be handed this totem for change, sometimes you would go, wait, I don't want it. But the point is that when we give meaning and purpose to whatever changes come our way, then healing and transformation is possible. And our power lies in our ability to choose. You know, we get to choose how we view change, and we get to choose how we respond to change. We can't control change coming our way, but we can control our perspective on it and how we choose to respond to it. And that takes a little bit of detachment, it's true, and it takes mindfulness to know how we're responding so that we can make a different choice if it's needed. And one of the mantras for Libra, because we're in the Libra month now, is let choice be made. So what if we chose to see all the events that are taking place on the world stage now as the birth pangs of a new world that's trying to emerge? How would that affect your feelings about what is happening? I think that perspective is one that we can hold on to that will ignite our hope instead of our despair. And you know, we do have this choice. We can choose despair, or we can choose to find a perspective that ignites our hope and our vision and our optimism about the future. So along with all of the outer changes that are going around in our world, the natural world is also getting ready for a change, the changing of the seasons. So tonight we're celebrating the fall equinox. And I believe one of the ways that we can honor this changing of the seasons is through ceremony and ritual. So we're going to begin by the lighting of 2 candles. Now, I was trying to find a black candle and a white candle to symbolize the darkness and the light, but I couldn't find it. So this is our first candle. We're going to place them over here by the Buddha. This is our second candle. A balance of night and day, a balance of light and dark. Tonight we seek balance in our lives as it is found in the universe. A candle for darkness and pain and things that I can eliminate from my life. And a candle for the light and for the joy and all the abundance that we wish to bring forth. At this time of the equinox, there is harmony and balance in the universe, and so shall there be in our lives. And the Native American tradition ends those kinds of sayings with a hope, sort of like an amen. So ancient people of almost every race and culture have celebrated these cycles for centuries. We can see that if we think about all the ancient sites around the world that honor those periods of change. Stonehenge comes to mind. The many ancient texts that speak about these times and the mythology. And we also know that many famous spiritual figures of the world, such as the Master Jesus, Osiris, Quetzalcoatl, were said to have experienced major events in their lives at these times. So there's spiritual opportunity here for us. to experience as we honor these sacred times. And we know that some of the ancient traditions were simple and they were based mostly on an appreciation of the natural world, but many of these traditions celebrated the profound and spiritual significance of these special times of the year. And when we align with these cycles of nature, we strengthen and ground our connection to the spiritual realms. One author, I'm sorry I don't have who it was, said this about these cycles, quote, "What if we celebrated these changing cycles as holy days, as sanctuary?" The original meaning of holy was to set apart. In holy time, we surrender our engagement with the outer world. We go to be restored and renewed. And in all cultures, to enter this sacred space is to be released from chronological time, to enter the timeless realm of the sacred. In ritual and ceremony, we and the world are healed and strengthened. We go apart. We shed encumbrance and distraction. We invite the cooperation of unseen energies. And we reconstruct ourselves for our work in the world and create the world anew once again. Isn't that beautiful? So the natural world right now is enjoying the bounty and the abundance of the summer months. Crops have been gathered and gratitude is given for the sustenance that these foods will provide. And people begin preparing for preserving what needs to be stored for the winter months. When we enter any new cycle in our lives, it seems like it's always necessary to let go of something. Like we must clear the space for something new to enter. In our ritual tonight, we will be looking at what we're ready to release, to let go of, and also what we wish to bring forth into this new cycle as sustenance for the long winter months ahead. I've done a lot of rituals over the years around letting go. Some of you have heard me mention this before, but in the past, my intention in doing these rituals was to just get rid of whatever I was trying to let go of. I'd write things down on paper and burn them or bury them or cut them up. And it was done with sort of this energy of just make it disappear, make it go away. But as I've gotten older, I've become gentler toward the unfinished parts of myself. And that's how I look at them now, just as unfinished, a work in progress. So instead of wishing them to go away, all those parts of myself that I don't like, I've been practicing holding them in compassion. And I envision this huge heart that can hold everything. All my yucky habits, my negativities, my fears, my judgments, my anger, my pride, my insecurities, my anxieties. It can hold all of that, as well as my higher soul qualities, the parts of myself that I do like. So I just practice saying to myself, this is just what it means to be human. We're all a mix, a stew of this and that. Some great, some not so great ingredients. But this cauldron, this heart, can hold it all. I think it's also about acceptance. Can I just accept every part of myself with gentleness, tenderness, and loving compassion? Can I create a space for it in my heart and just hold it there lovingly? And I think that once we hold it within with love, we release all that tightness and constriction that we've used to push it away. And then all that sacred energy is more available to us. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And we're going to start with a poem that some of you have heard many times because this is my favorite go-to poem when I'm wanting to let go of something. It's called She Let Go by the Reverend Sapphire Rose. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she just let go. She let go of fear. She let go of judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions that were swarming around in her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She just let go. She let go of all of the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all of the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her day timer. She made no public announcement. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulation. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. In the space of letting go, she just let it all be. Wow. What would that be like, to just let it all be? Okay, so now make sure that you have your bowl, your paper, and your pen handy. And if you need a moment to get those things together, I'll give you just a few seconds. Your bowl should have water in it. You should have a few slips of paper and pen. And if you happen to have lavender oil or rose petals, that would be wonderful too. Okay, so let's begin by closing our eyes and going within. And begin by paying gentle attention to your breathing, slowly in and out. Notice how with this gentle cycle of breathing, your emotional body begins to become still and quiescent. Your physical body relaxes and lets go of any tension or constriction. Breathing into the mind, notice how the thoughts begin to slow down, to recede into the background. Now, with body, mind, and emotions in a state of stillness, Place your attention gently on your heart. With your focus there, send a prayer of gratitude for all the blessings in your life. Gratitude for the abundance that is yours, for what nature and the universe has provided you in these last 6 months since the spring equinox, even in the midst of the struggle and uncertainty. Gratitude to all the kingdoms of nature that help sustain you, animal, vegetable, mineral. And let us give thanks for the changing of the seasons, for this new energy that is coming. Realizing that the new will find a more receptive home within us if we spend some time recognizing what it is in our lives that is calling out to be released. What are we willing to let go of so we can move unencumbered into this new beginning? I'm going to let you take 5 minutes now to ponder those questions and write down on your first slip of paper what it is you're willing to let go of, what is calling out to be released. And if you finish before the 5 minutes is up, please just sit quietly in the stillness. Now I'd like you to take your paper that you've written on and place it in your bowl that has your water in it. And now take your pen and your paper once more. And this time, let's go within again and consider what are the gifts that you have received over these last 6 months? What strengths and insights can you take with you to carry you through the dark night of winter? I'm sure that most of us have come away from these last 6 months recognizing some of our strengths after having dealt with all that we've dealt with the last 6 months. So go back in your mind and just think about those things that have really reminded you of your strength. What insights and strengths have you realized from these last 6 months that you can carry with you into the winter? So 5 minutes. Now, when you feel complete, gently gaze at your bowl, or if possible, hold it in your lap. See it as the symbol of the cauldron that is your heart. The water in the bowl is symbolic of purification. And now, if you have lavender oil, place some drops of lavender oil into your bowl. Lavender is for blessing and soothing. And if you happen to have rose petals, you can add those to your bowl. Rose petals symbolize healing and transformation. And even if you don't have those items, just imagine that this sacred water now holds the properties of healing and blessing. And if it's possible for you where you are sitting, place your hands over the bowl. Or if that's not comfortable, just hold your hands outward facing the bowl. And let us now bless these words that we have written. Mother, Father, God, Great Spirit, we ask that the love that is in our hearts go forth into this cauldron of sacred water. May it bless our words with the transformative power of love. May we be healed. May we be released from the hold that these words have had over us. And may we now use this transformed energy for a higher purpose. And so it is. These hindrances have now been blessed with your loving energy. So now I will ask you to dip your fingers into the bowl of this sacred water and anoint yourself with it. Place it on whatever part of your body feels right to you. Receive the blessing of your own transformed energies. I ask you now to take the paper with the words that you have written down that describe your gifts, your strengths, and your insights, those that you've received these last several months. Carry them close to you during these coming winter months. Let them hold you and support you and sustain you during these coming days. Remember, changing woman. See if you can find some sacred object that can be your talisman during these changing times, that can be your changing woman. Carry it with you and let it remind you of your strength and of all the energy that you have freed up today. As you touch it, remember your connection to spirit and know that changing woman and spirit are both with you, supporting you and loving you. So I'd like to close now with the poem, of course. It's called Blessed Are You Who Bear the Light by Jan Richardson. Blessed are you who bear the light in unbearable times, who testify to its endurance amid the unendurable, who bear witness to its persistence when everything seems in shadow and grief. Blessed are you in whom the light lives, in whom the brightness blazes, your heart a chapel, an altar where in the deepest night can be seen the fires that shine forth in you in unaccountable faith, in stubborn hope, in love that illumines every broken thing it finds. So, my friends, as we enter the darkness of winter, I invite you to welcome that darkness as a time to go within, to hibernate, to connect with your inner wisdom and knowing, so that you can emerge in the spring with new life, new visions, new energy to bring to the healing of humanity. Namaste, my friends. Good night. Thank you for joining me. Have a blessed, blessed season.